Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the original Loretta Brown Show radio to open the heart, heal the soul, awaken the consciousness. I don't know, Mr. Benny Mathers. How are you doing today?
Good. Why the big right before you got a lot going on today? I mean, I might, but we can get to you first.
Nothing earth-shattering or in particular, but for some reason I just have a lot on my plate.
Huh. Yeah. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
not so much you.
I mean, sure. I think a little bit later on today, of course, looking at today's date, I know if we air the show later outside, it'll be a different day. But however, today is 0515 of 25. So do you see anything around those numbers, perhaps?
I do.
Okay.
Actually.
All right.
Good. So lots of fives.
Yeah. Apparently. Wow. You crushed it with that one. Woo! That's why we bring you in. I'll give you a ding for that one. All right. Well done. All right. A lot of fives. Okay. We're going
a lot of fives. Well, 5 in numerology, 5's the number of change. Yeah. It's an how do I say this? Some numbers are more stable than other numbers. Like the 4 is a really stable number, like the 4 corners or the cornerstones, the 4 squares, right? And 6 is also a nice number. It's about family and humanity and things like that. 5 is sort of like a rolling stone. It's about change. And sometimes change is uncomfortable. Sometimes we like it. Sometimes it doesn't come fast enough. Sometimes it's too slow. And I just say, wow, I think it's perfect what you just said.
Okay.
I love it.
Just feeling it. All right. So want to get your take.
Yep.
Just because we'll come back to what might happen today next week.
Ooh.
Cliffhanger.
Are you going to tell us? Is there a cliffhanger?
I can't tell you now.
I know. But now I want to know now.
No. I'm going to leave you in suspense.
It's a cliffhanger. You got to come back next week to find out. I love that.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I am Loretta Brown. I'm the owner of Reiki Oasis, located right here in the greater Seattle area for almost 30 years. We're going on. And I do have things coming up. You can find out more about me at ReikiOasis.com. I have my beautiful sacred Egypt trip coming up. If you've ever thought you wanted to go, if there's a tug in your heart, a lot of times Egypt calls people. It's actually real. So I've been taking trips to Egypt since 1987. I hate to tell you that. And this trip will be September 30 through October 14 with an extension to Petra, Jordan until October 19th. And there's never been a better time to go to Egypt. They've been finding out all this stuff. They've been actually telling us there's stuff under there. And then there's people telling us there's nothing under the Sphinx and the pyramids. So I don't know, maybe you should come along and find out. If you want more information about the trip, send me an email, send it to reikioasis@gmail.com. Ask for information about the Egypt trip. And I still have a couple of seats available, but it is filling up. And it is sacred. It is very, very special. You're never the same after going to Egypt. There's something about it.
I think it's perfect too, because then you can
walk like an Egyptian.
Right?
I love it.
Okay, good.
By the way, somewhere on the trip we actually do that.
You mean?
We do.
Walk like an Egyptian.
Yeah, we do with the songs. Yeah.
So dope. So cool.
We try to have a lot of fun on the trip.
Of course,
That's the
fun part.
Yeah, we have Galabea party and we eat a lot of food. We float up and down the Nile on a private yacht. Yeah, that's what we do. That's how we do it. Just saying, right? So let's look at astrology, because maybe this is what's going on with me. It's not about me, but I am an Aries, right? So it is about me.
Do you need a ding for that too? I'll just go and give it to you then. All right.
So needy this morning, Betty. Thank you.
Spot on. Too good. Too good.
All righty. Okay, we got that out of the way. Everybody listening can go, oh yeah, it's an Aries, whatever. Let's move on. move on. But anyway, we started this week with a big full moon in Scorpio. This is a very powerful moon, perfect for transformation, letting go of heaviness, uncovering new wisdom. And Uranus is very active, so it can bring up this restlessness. It must really be hitting my chart. And you need to be honest with your emotions to ease the ride. I bet our guests can talk about that a little bit. One of the questions you can ask yourself is, what am I ready to let go of to step into a lighter version of myself? Yeah. And then today through Saturday, today is May 15 through May 17. And like I say, if you're listening to this later, you can just think back what was happening. We actually have something called the Algol Gateway. The sun is aligning with Algol, the fixed star that is tied to the Medusa myth. What? Yeah. So despite its fierce reputation, Algol is about finding strength through transformation. Like Medusa, who grew powerful after her trials, this gateway asks us to embrace our resilience. Reflect on challenges you've overcome. How have they shaped your inner power? And use this energy for grounding rituals like visualizing your strength as a shield. And by the way, that Algol Gateway, Betty, that ties into what we were saying, because it's about change. And so Medusa wasn't always Medusa, right? She got turned into Medusa, and you can go back and look at that story, but then she became more powerful. So,
and then you changed if you looked at her, right?
Yeah, you did.
Then you didn't get to change back. That was a
be
struggle.
Careful.
That's
be careful.
Exactly. It's gonna be a struggle after that.
I do have the giggles today too, by the way. All right. So Saturday, May 17th, we also have Venus leaves her shadow phase, bringing clarity to love and money matters that were stirred since February. So what's been going on with love and money matters? Just take a look in your life. This is a graduation point for your heart. You might feel more confident in relationships, or, I'm ready for this one, receive positive financial news. So take a moment to celebrate how far you've come in giving and receiving love. And what's one step you can take to honor your heart's growth? I notice we've got sunshine outside, so I'm like, yeah, that kind of makes us open up a little bit. And more astrology. Hang on, it is a busy week. Saturday, May 17th through Sunday, May 18th, we have the sun conjunct Uranus in Taurus. And they meet over the weekend, sparking a final burst of change before Uranus shifts signs next year. Since 2018, Taurus has taught us to balance bold ideas with stability. This conjunction is a rebirth. Reflect on how you've navigated change versus stagnation, and try writing down one stable yet creative goal for the months ahead. This is a great time, by the way, to start a passion project, or really just to kind of get a fire under your tail and get going. Tuesday, May 20th, Gemini season begins, shifting us from earthy Taurus to airy communicative vibes. Gemini season activates creativity and connection and urges us to express ourselves through writing, art, or conversation. I always say the art of conversation because, a lot of people are like, Loretta, how do you do that? How do you just like talk to people? And I'm like, I actually learned it from my mother. God bless her soul. Yes, I did. She talked all the time. Thank you so much, Mom. Glad you did that. It's also a time to honor our dual nature, our mortal body, and our immortal soul, and engage your hands in something creative. And finally, if we didn't have enough going on, May 19 through the 21 brings the Alcyon Gateway. So I talked about the Algol Gateway. This is Alcyon, as the sun aligns with Alcyon, a key Pleiadian star. Known as the shadow sun, Alcyon illuminates fears, shame, or repressed emotions, guiding us toward spiritual growth. The Pleiades opens a channel to the spirit world, making this ideal for connecting with past loved ones through meditation or prayer. So embrace the divine support to face your shadows. And what truth are you ready to bring into the light? I feel like I've got a common theme going on here of looking deep inside, bringing it up to the light, and lightening up everything. So this week, the cosmos is inviting transformation, resilience, and connection. Lean into the releasing energy of the Scorpio full moon, Find strength in the Algol gateway of change. Celebrate love with Venus. Ground bold ideas with Uranus and express yourself in Gemini season, and face your shadows with Alcyon. Whew, that's it. Wow. Oh, I need like a fan or a drink of water. That's how that goes.
That was a lot coming at us.
That was a lot for this week for the astrology. And now that was really the best groundwork to bring in my excellent guest today. I have Ellie Pechet. She's a renowned metaphysician, a medium, a shaman, an author with over 33 years of experience in intuitive counseling and energy healing. She helps clients worldwide via remote sessions using her groundbreaking Pechet Healing Technique to resolve emotional and physical issues like grief, trauma, and chronic pain with a 93% success rate. She's a Reiki Master, a certified practitioner in E.M.F balancing, and she's also authored a wonderful book called Hitching a Ride, a guide to earthbound spirits and how they affect you, exploring spirit attachments and her transformative healing approach. Ellie's mission is to empower clients to align with their soul's purpose. Welcome to the show, Ellie.
Thank you. It's good to be here, Loretta.
It's really good to be here. I was thinking the whole time I was reading that astrology report, how timely your guest appearance is. I feel like I'm in a couple of portals with you.
It is. And you know, the funny thing is that you were talking about Scorpio full moon. I've got 5 planets in Scorpio, so I've got a big influence.
Well, there you go. I'm so glad you're here.
Oh, me too.
I would love for you to tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get into what you're doing, and gear us toward what you'd really like to talk about today? Yeah,
I've had many lifetimes being of service and other things, but a lot of times being of service, and this is one of those lifetimes. And I was I don't know if you'd say fortunate in some ways. I think, yeah, fortunate to discover my calling really early on when I was in my 20s. And it was like a connect, like, you know, this step and then this step and then this step. This is what I'm here to do, which is help as many people as possible. And I have the intention to do so and the abilities. And so here I am again.
I'm only giggling because we share that, and I know a lot of people listening have, you know, been on this path, you know, through lifetimes. And one of my things was, please, I don't want to be burned at the stake as a witch again. Please, I don't. I didn't like that part very much, right?
Totally get it. Totally get it. Like, exactly. I've said to myself a number of times, this time I just want to leave my body nice and peacefully, just gently leave and start flying.
Yeah, exactly. So you do so many things. And I think that you mentioned that you would actually like to maybe focus a little bit around grief today. So tell us why grief.
The reason I'd like to focus on grief, and I just wanted to mention, I don't do a lot of things, but I clear a lot of issues for my clients. And I use the Pechet Healing Technique. That's really the majority of the work I do. And it's a unique ability that I have to actually dissolve the issue that I'm focusing on for the client. Literally dissolve it, so they don't have to wonder where it went. Is it going to come back? No, it's not going to come back. One session and your lifelong depression is probably gone, or your grief. Like a client named Paige that I helped. She had been shut down for 7 years, grieving the loss of her son, who was murdered his first year in college, and he was her only child. So she was completely shut down, just could not move on. And she heard me speak at a conference, and then she signed up for a workshop that I gave. And she said, you know what, I need to work with this woman. And I worked with her remotely And in her first session, I literally brought her to peace about her son after all that time.
Wow. Yeah, I'm listening to you. Yes, please go ahead. I think you were going to say something else.
Well, so for me, that's the big prize is helping get someone on their feet again when they've been shut down and unable to move on. Especially, you know, grief is probably, I would say it's one of, if not the most intense and debilitating emotions and processes that people go through. And so if I can be an instrument in lifting them up, in bringing them to peace and helping them move on, then that makes me really happy. It really does.
I agree with you. I think grief is one of the biggest ones. It's a very complex emotion. It's got all kinds of little avenues and tags to it. But also, because I know, I'm just going to bring this in, your book, Hitching a Ride, about earthbound spirits. Can you weave that into what you're talking about with grief? Because one of the things that I've run into is people who either are trying to follow their dearly departed loved ones into the other afterlife, or they're hanging on to them.
Yeah. Well, so the reason I wrote the book Hitching a Ride is it was a labor of love. It took me 7 years, if you can believe it, and it's full of case studies of clients that I worked with and who I helped by removing earthbound spirits and demons and other things. I also talk a little bit about mediumship and working with one's guides. And the thing is, you know, as a Scorpio, I'm about like reality and truth and being real, right? So it's not about keeping our heads buried in the sand. Sometimes people who die don't actually, they get stuck here on the earth plane. So when I work with a client, I can tell them if their loved one, like, you know, as you know, a lot of young people are taking their own lives, unfortunately, and some of them get stuck here. Some of them die by an overdose, intentional or sometimes not intentional, and will become stuck here. And so I feel that part of my service is to check and see, well, were they successful? Did they make it to the other side, to the light, to what we call home, so that they can continue their journey as a soul? The worst thing, I think, is for a person to get stuck here. Horrible. And then they attach to a person because they don't know what else to do. And then it's like a double whammy. They have a negative effect on the person they attach to, and they're also still stuck. So one of the first things that I will do is check and see, did the spirit make it to the light, or are they stuck? And if they're earthbound, then, you know, that's one of my abilities. And I write about it in the book, Hitching a Ride, is to send them where they need to go, which is home.
When you have been working with grief, wow, because I'm getting both grief and fear, right? There may be a whole bunch of other things here. I, by the way, very much appreciate everything you're sharing and the work that you do. Like, thank you. Like, thank you. Really.
You're welcome.
Much needed work. This idea that, like, for instance, with the woman that you were sharing a story about, that had been down for 7 years, and the grief, when you did your work with her and dissolved the grief, was that basically her grief, then her emotion? So she wasn't attached to her son. Her son was not an earthbound spirit.
No, he was not. He had made
Okay.
it to the light successfully. So working with her and bringing her to peace was really a win-win, if that makes sense. He, you know, and people who do die and do go to the light, they want their loved ones to be at peace and to remember the positive memories and to go on with their lives. It hurts them when their loved ones are suffering and they feel like there's nothing they can do about it.
Do you want to share a little bit about your Pechet Healing Method, or is that your information to keep for yourself?
No, I'm
Okay.
very transparent. I really am. I see myself as an open book. There's nothing to hide. We're here to share with each other and to help each other. And we all have unique gifts and abilities. And, one of the things that I love to do when I'm using my Pechet Healing Technique is every time I clear an issue for a client, it brings them closer to their own empowerment. And for me, the goal is for people to really step into not only their authentic power, but to really get to what it is that they're here to do and to do it full on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So how long have you been using your healing technique from the beginning? Yep.
Well, I wouldn't say from the beginning. It's really been a process, step by step, of development of my abilities and really coming into them, full on. I'd say probably, I don't know, 25 years roughly. And I've been doing the work releasing earthbound spirits and other entities probably for about 20 years. And I consider that one of two branches of my work. One is removing entities and sending them where they need to go, where they need and want to go for their highest good. And then the other branch of my work is healing issues, like really big issues, whether it's depression or anxiety, or I love to heal trauma. Love to heal trauma because that's another one that's really painful and that keeps people from operating fully, like full throttle. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. Do you have a story that you can share illustrating some of that? I know you were talking about the woman with grief, but I know you have your books full of great stories. I just want to read the book to the audience, right?
Well, I writing the book was a lot of work. And like I said, it took 7 years, and it makes me so happy because people really love it. Like, it really worked out beautifully, and they love the stories. They find it interesting. It's not heady or intellectual at all. It's real stories about real situations in which people have had some type of spirit attachment. And in the book, I talk about karmic spirits compared to random spirits. Like, a random spirit is one that someone could pick up in a scary movie or even in the grocery store, right? And there's no karmic attachment. Whereas a karmic spirit is a spirit that has a grievance, that is upset about something that happened in a previous life, and they find the soul and they will harass and torture them until they make amends. But they don't know that they're there. They don't know why, or what is affecting their life until they come to me, and I identify that. And then I have a special process that I've been using successfully for many years, in which I will speak with the spirit that has the grievance. I'll actually speak with them and find out what the story is, what they're upset about. And then I guide the client through making an amends. And then the spirit is willing to let go and move on. So then I'll move them on. It's very, very honoring for both.
Yeah, I like your approach to that whole thing because I do think that a lot of people approach it like a battle. And, if you show up with your weapons drawn, you're probably going to have a battle, right? It's
and haven't we had enough of that by now? My goodness.
Yeah, I'm kind of done with it myself. Yeah.
Right? Let's all like think about the concept of win-win instead of power over, control over, divisiveness, me versus you. No, we're all connected. Let's realize that, embrace it, and work together.
Wow. Yes. Yes, absolutely. I think I'm talking about that all the time, like all this division in our world, and maybe we could figure out a way to have some unity or some recognition. Like you say, we are all here together. We are here together. Yeah.
Yeah.
We are going to take a little station break, but Ellie Pechet, when we come back, I want to go a little bit deeper into the earthbound spirits, and also I want to go back to talking about grief a little bit and pulse out maybe some help for the people listening. So
sure.
This is Loretta Brown. We're going to take a little station break. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
All right, all clear.
If you're 19 or older with certain underlying medical conditions such as asthma or diabetes, you can get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia, a potentially serious bacterial lung disease that can disrupt your life for weeks. If you're 65 or older, it is also recommended you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia, no matter the season. Talk to your doctor about vaccination today and learn more at lung.org/protectyourself. A message from the American Lung Association in collaboration with Pfizer.
Energy is powerful. It's all around us, mysterious, full of potential. Directing positive healing energy to raise your vibrational rate through Reiki can change your life. Reiki Master Loretta Brown has relieved stress, sadness, anger, and even helped clients lose weight, stop smoking, and end sleep disorders. Worldwide, people have sought out Reiki Oasis. If you want help with your dis-ease, visit ReikiOasis.com. Harness life's energy. Visit ReikiOasis.com today.
Alternative Talk 1150. We're on your radio at 1150 a.m. We're on your HD radio at 98.9 Channel 3.
So many ways to listen.
We're on the web at 1150kknw.com, streaming live audio and video as well as MP3 archives of many of our shows.
So many ways to listen.
And now, we're on your smartphone or tablet. Download our free app in the Apple App Store or Google Play and take Alternative Talk 1150 anywhere you go.
So many ways to listen.
Easy on the ears, good for the soul. Alternative Talk 1150.
Ready to come back in? All right, stand by. Good, hang on.
I love that song, Betty. Oh my God.
I mean, it's kind of if we're hitching a ride, we might.
We're hitching a ride,
but it's Riders on the Storm.
Yeah, I love it.
You got it.
I hadn't heard that song in years. Thank you. You're the best cosmic DJ ever. I love it. Anyway, welcome back to the original Loretta Brown Show with my guest, Ellie Pechet, today. Just a reminder that these shows are archived. You can download them for free at the KKNW 1150 AM archives for the original Loretta Brown Show. We're also on YouTube, iTunes, Podcast One, Spotify, X, Megaphone. Oh, I always leave something out. You get the idea. Please go and find the show. And of course, I've been on the air for years, so there are hundreds of really, really great shows that you can listen to. And the idea is to inspire you, uplift you, and help you find help, people that could help you if you need help. Speaking of that, Ellie Pechet, during the break, I was asking you a question. I'm actually going to bring it onto the air because I've noticed a certain uptick in suicides among young people and veterans and maybe the general populace. And my question to Ellie was, are there spirits, earthbound spirits or spirits of some kind that are, how do I say this, influencing people to commit suicide?
Yeah, that's a really important question. And I would say earthbound spirits that's not usually their agenda. Usually earthbound spirits' agenda is to kind of have a place to hang out and, be able to eat and drink again. Once they go inside of a physical person, they're in a physical body. So if they were stuck anyway, at least they can start eating, drinking. Maybe they pick someone who smokes and they were a smoker, and so they can smoke again. Make sense? Okay, so however, in answer to your question, Loretta, a demon is a very different entity, and demons thrive on chaos, drama, and trauma. And so, yes, if they're very dangerous, and they're not as common as earthbound spirits, but they are becoming increasingly common. And you can actually see this by watching the news. And one way that the listeners, I just want to give a tip that might be helpful, is the way that you listeners can tell if someone has a demon is, and maybe the best place to start would be by watching the news. And if you see someone who has killed one or more people, or these, like the school shootings, look in their eyes. That's how you can tell, because they will literally look like their eyes are open, the light's on, but no one's home. They have a blank stare. They don't have a normal human look. And so I just wanted to share that information. And but same thing, start by looking at something like a really obvious example, and then you can look at the people around you, or even the grocery clerk. And having this awareness is really important. And again, it's one of the reasons that I wrote Hitching a Ride, a guide to earthbound spirits, just to increase the public's awareness that this stuff is real. Anyway, but sorry to go on, but
oh yeah, no, it's good.
Okay.
Yes,
Thank
good
you.
information. Yeah.
Oh, good. So in answer to your question, a demon, because they love drama, trauma, and chaos, it is like a victory for them if they can get someone not only to hate themselves, but to take their own life.
Are they involved with things like drug addiction,
Oh, yeah.
substance abuse? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything that makes a person vulnerable. So whether and drugs is a really, really big one. Same thing with alcohol. That's why they call it spirits, if you think about it, right? It attracts spirits. Anything that makes a person more vulnerable. And this is why I love to clear childhood issues, because those make people more vulnerable to attracting negative entities, besides just not being happy and not being at peace.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I followed what you just said. So childhood traumas
And issues, whether it's with parents, everything, people are, they're really imprinted and formed as children, right? We all know this. So if there was trauma and chaos, or abandonment, neglect, in their childhood as they were growing up, these imprints can and will affect them the rest of their lives until they're healed. And I love to heal childhood issues. It's really my passion, because it sets people free. So someone who's been depressed their whole life, or anxious, or has had PTSD their whole life, and they put so much energy in trying to heal themselves, and they get so far, but it's still there. So I take care of whatever is left. And And it really is about setting people free so they can, move on, be happy, be at peace, and focus on what it is that they're here to do.
Yeah, I'm getting this image of you just going in there and, sponging down the walls, right? Getting the rest of that stuff out of there.
Like a roto-rooter.
Yeah, exactly. Just call Ellie.
Yeah.
Cleanup girl.
Yeah.
Do you have a story about the healing of childhood trauma that you could share with us?
Yeah. I had a client that I worked with who had had severe anxiety her whole life. And when she found me, she was in her 60s, and she had tried everything that she could to heal this anxiety. So you see how much time and energy can be spent on trying to heal something instead of living one's purpose, right? That's the sad thing, but it can change. So for her, she had picked up anxiety when she was in the womb of her mother, when she was carrying her. And that is one of the really, really unique things that I'm able to do, is pick up on if something that the person is experiencing, whether it's like depression or anxiety, where did it come from? I'm like a psychic detective, and I will find the root cause. And if it happened when they were in the womb, I can go there and literally clear it. So I did that for her, and she was free after a few sessions. It was gone. It was really gone. And she had been very, very shut down with this. It was debilitating for her until I worked with her.
You said so many really deep and wonderful things right there. I want to kind of pull them out a little bit. You're absolutely right. The childhood trauma that had followed this person into her 60s, and the amount of energy required to try to navigate all that. And you're absolutely right. A lot of people spend a lot of time and energy trying to, do this sort of therapy or that sort of therapy. And I'm not trying to badmouth all that. I think everything has a place, but they can't get past it. They can't get around it, or it just remains where it's at. The idea, I love this psychic detective. Maybe you should just put that on your card. Ellie Pechet, psychic detective, and also time traveler, right? To be able to go back into that space it's wonderful. It's amazing. Do you ever follow that into past lives?
Oh yeah. I was just thinking that we're really tracking well together, and I appreciate that. One of the unique things that makes my technique really successful is that I not only clear the issue in the current life, like in the here and now, or in the childhood, whenever it was in this life, but the second part of every session is I'll clear the issue in any past life or past lifetime. So the pattern is complete by the end of each session. So it's a different issue every session. In other words, does that make sense?
That makes sense to me. I hope the listeners are also tracking. I think they are, and hopefully getting more and more curious about that. When you heal that, well, we got to be careful with the word heal, but when you go into the past life and you clear that, right? You clear that out.
Yeah.
And then that, because it's real, it's absolutely real. And it comes into this life and it literally changes the person's life. I just think I have to refer people to your book, Hitching a Ride, because you have so many wonderful stories in there. And I think one of the things, for me anyway, is to read these stories and to really, really get it inside you that we're not talking something that isn't real. A lot of people call it woo-woo, but this is actually reality. I also mentioned during the break that a lot of people are very, very distracted. They don't pay attention And I think that if we just take a moment and focus and pay attention, that we'll go, yeah, actually, I'm having this thing happen and that thing happen also. I want to go back to, like, a lot of people know they have childhood traumas, right?
Yeah.
And they know, so they could come to you for that, and they could get help for that anywhere in the world because you do work remotely, right?
Yes.
The other part of that, I want to go back to the earthbound spirits for a moment. I want you to talk a little bit more about earthbound spirits and how many do a lot of people have attachments to earthbound spirits? How do you know if you have that? And how can you protect yourself or do something about it? Or do you need to go to somebody like you? Sorry, that was a quad question.
It's okay. If I miss something, you'll let me know.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. So, one of the ways that the listeners can tell if they have an earthbound spirit is kind of just hearing a negative voice, almost like someone is there and saying negative things to them. It's not their imagination. It's never one's imagination. It's real. And another indicator for having one or more earthbound spirits or even a demon is personality changes. And the listeners can also observe this in their loved ones. If all of a sudden they just seem really angry all the time, and that's not their normal, and there isn't something that warrants that, that would be a personality change. Or if someone who is grieving a person that they lost, if all of a sudden the level of grief really intensifies, that would be another personality change. So it's personality changes, maybe aggressive behavior. I worked with a client. She gave me a beautiful video testimonial that's on my website, phoenixrisinghealing.com. And she actually heard me. You mentioned the Pleiadians during your intro, and they actually, Barbara Marciniak is one of the most respected, you know of her. She's one of the most respected channels of the Pleiadians. And I met her 10 years ago, and a few months ago, they actually recommended my work and my book, Hitching a Ride, A Guide to Earthbound Spirits, when she was channeling.
That's fantastic.
I was really tickled by it. And so this one client was listening to her program, and she said, oh my God, I've got to contact this woman. And she got my book, and she called me, and had a few sessions. And the first session, she had a demon with her. She didn't know what it was, but she was feeling really angry, like all the time, and was having negative thoughts about her husband and her two daughters. And she said to me in her first session, this is not my normal. I'm not depressed. I'm not angry. I'm not anxious. And the last few months, I've been feeling all of those things, especially the anger. And I removed a demon. I identified and then removed a demon, and she was back to herself.
Wow. Yeah, I love that story. And also, an endorsement by the Pleiadians. I don't know. Ellie.
What?
Yeah, I love that. Right?
Yeah.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Yeah.
It was such a high compliment, because the Pleiadians are here to do good. They're here to help humanity, as they always have been, and they're a very intelligent group.
Yeah. Which leads to the question of, when you are working with, I'm going to say attachments for lack of a better word, do you run into ETs, like negative ETs in your work?
I do, here and there, and that's my least group to my least favorite group to work with, because they're a lot more invested, and it's a whole system compared to, well, let me just explain that so the listeners understand. It's a whole system in the sense that, there are it's like the ETs get assigned a person to observe and harass. And so typically what I have found is there'll be between 5 and 7, that are like, boots on the ground. You can't see them, but they're around, hovering around this person. They'll put implants in them, and then they'll the reason they put the implants is because they can send pulses, painful, painful pulses and lights flashing. And I don't want to get too much into this because, like I said,
Right.
I don't really, I
Right.
really don't like working with the ETs. But the thing is, and again, maybe this will just help the awareness for the public, is that the reason that the ETs are more complex is because there is a mothership that the ones that are on the ground that are assigned to harass a person, there's a mothership that is monitoring and watching them. And the reason they're invested more than other entities is because they don't experience emotions, and so they like to observe and document how people react when they do certain things.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it's sort of like a project, right? Like an information gathering project of some kind. Yeah.
Big time.
I agree with you too. Like, our conversation is delicate or balanced, is what I want to say, because if we go too far down a dark road, we go down a dark road. And so I'm just saying that because I know you agree with me, Ellie, and also for the listeners, we will bring this back into the light. We're always in the light. So, but I think for the awareness of people, it's important that we bring it up. A lot of people are very avoidant, and that can get us into trouble sometimes, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
What can we do to, quote, protect ourselves from either demons or negative ETs or even earthbound spirits?
Yeah. So for the listeners, it's really about, healing one's childhood issues. That is very important because it makes people vulnerable and susceptible to these negative energies. Another step that the listeners can take is imagining the light within and expanding it out. So, using it as a shield, a protective light shield. A third thing that they can do is intend to spread light wherever they go. I always try to remember to set that intention so that not only do I not get affected by negative energies, I'm walking around, sharing my light with everyone that I encounter. And my goodness, if everyone would do that, wouldn't the world be a better place?
I do think so. Yes. Which, you kind of answered my question of, how do you take care of yourself in the middle of all this?
Yes, that's how I do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love helping people. That's I that's what I'm here for. So every time I do work with, with a client, it just is very, very satisfying. I'm here to help as many people as I can on their journeys, and that gives me really the greatest gratification.
Now, you also work with animals.
Yes.
And can you talk a little bit about your work with animals and maybe any insights that has given you around animals and humans?
Yes. And, one of my favorite pages on my website, phoenixrisinghealing.com, is the healing pets and wildlife page. And it has just a small sample of different animals that I've worked with, different pets over the years. I've worked with a cockatiel who was traumatized by his previous owner. The girl didn't like his, his voice, his song. It's important for them to sing. That's what they do. And she would, come up, put her face close to him and shake his cage. And so he stopped singing. He got very shut down. And that's an example of trauma that I healed for a pet. And once I healed that, he started singing again. His name is Louie, and the story about him, and also my conversation with him, is on the website, on the Healing Pets and Wildlife page. So let's see. Another example. All right, I had a guy in Canada found me, and he's a cattle rancher, and he had a dog named Bailey, and who was 16. She was a cattle, what do they call them? Cattle, the ones they heal.
Yeah, go ahead.
I forget right at the second, but anyway, her job and her purpose, her whole 16 years of life, was to round up the cattle and protect the calves when they were born from coyotes and other predators. And it was a really beautiful process, working with him, with the owner, and also working, guiding him in how to help his dog in her last chapter of life. And so being able to communicate with the dog and what she needed and wanted, and then sharing that information with him, really helped her have a beautiful last chapter. And one of the things, and I think this will be helpful for the listeners. One of my favorite parts of that story was he was debating whether to put her down because she was really old. And so I was able, because of my abilities to communicate intuitively, I was able to check in with her and find out that she did not want to be put down. She wanted to leave naturally. So I think for the listeners out there, if you're wondering if it's time to put your beloved pet down, find out what they want. Don't do what's convenient for you. Find out what is in their highest and best interest, and give them a choice. It's really important, and I could help. I can help you with that. If you can't hear them or intuit, you can get in touch with me. We could set up an appointment, and I'd be happy to let you know what they're wanting and what they're needing.
Yeah. And so how do people get a hold of you, and do you have any special offers or anything for the listeners today?
Yeah. Okay. So they can reach me at ellie@phoenixrisinghealing.com. That's my email. They can go to the website and reach me through there, which is phoenixrisinghealing.com. And if they mention that they heard me on your podcast, then and if they sign up for one or more sessions, I will gift them a free 30-minute reading in addition to whatever they purchase.
Wow. Yes. You should go do that right now. Yes. Absolutely. So if they go to your site, right, phoenixrisinghealing.com, if they sign up for one or more sessions, you'll give them a free 30-minute reading. Yes. I think you should just go do that. Anybody listening, just go do it right now and get it over with. Ellie, what message do you really want to give people today? What do you want to leave them with?
Well, just really quickly, I wanted to jump to the end of the story with Bailey, the dog, and her rancher human. It really warmed my heart, the fact that when it was time for her to transition, he was actually lying with her with his arms around her, whispering the sweetest things, the sweetest gratitudes in her ear, and she left so gently and easily, and it was just really beautiful.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So if we could all honor our pets, if we could all be, forever homes, and realize how important and serious it is, when we commit to getting a pet, and let's honor them, let's appreciate them and honor them. And it's not about convenience, right? It's about they're under our care, and they are our responsibility. Make sense?
Yes, beautiful. So, Ellie Pechet, what a delight. What an honor to have you on the show today. Thank you again for your work in the world and for being here. And lots of love. Benny Mathers, you are absolutely the best. And everybody out there, enjoy all of the portals. Take care of yourself and love on each other. Remember, Venus is up there too. Lots of love. Bye now.
Beautiful. Thank you.